Well, perfection seems to be the name of the game this week. Hello, everybody. Welcome to After Action Report, your numbers recap show for all Schmoedown matches to keep you caught up on all the action. Here on the Call to Action channel, my name is Megs, joined as always by Nat. Nat, this was a absolutely crazy week. First impressions right off the bat of what you saw this week.
Oh, first impressions. Where did I begin? This week was just insanity. It was we say that every week, and every week it feels like it's getting better and better. So, I mean, I can't wait to get into it. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely. We will be breaking down all the matches from this week, including that amazing Battlefield pay-per-view match. So if you have not seen any of those, be forewarned there. That is your first and only warning there. But let's just break down exactly what it is we saw this week. We had the Star Wars tournament match, plugging right along. We had the final round one matchup between Andres Cabrera and Sean Sullivan. Moving right along, we had an IG match, two rookies making their debut in the IG division, Moose Haas and Jacob Whitnaven. There we go. And then we had another set of singles debuts. We had Josh Horowitz, who we had seen in a teams division with Perry Nemiroff, and he is making his debut in singles against a rookie, Paul Walter Hauser. You guys will have known him from some TV and movie appearances, including the most recent Cruella that just came out. And then, oh my goodness, we had an amazing double teams matches for the Battlefield pay-per-view event with the number one contender match of Corruption and Danger Zone, and then the title match between half plus of the Odd Couple and Shazam. So without further ado, Nat, I want to go ahead and jump right in here. Thank you guys so much who are joining in live. If you are also joining live as well as watching back on replay, please go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel if you are not already, and leave a comment. We like hearing from you guys and coming up with ways that we can better interact with you guys on this show. But now, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this very first match. We had the Star Wars tournament kicking off again with Andres Cabrera, who is just coming off of losing to Alex Damon, the then champion, back at Spectacular, but had ran through the previous Star Wars tournament last season, looking to do that again. And then Sean the Saint Sullivan, who also is coming off of a loss earlier this year to Marie Wilson, both of them looking to start off this tournament on the right foot. And to start off with, we had Cabrera being up by 4, going 11 to Sean Sullivan 7, so a little bit of a rocky start there. Going into round 2, where Cabrera decides to spin first and takes Attack of the Clones on his first spin, where he sweeps the round for the full 10 for 10. Sullivan decides to take The Last Jedi on his first spin, where he goes 6 for 10, checking out a multiple choice once, missing a 2-point question and giving up one 1-point steal. So Andres is not able to capitalize on the 2-point steal opportunity there. Sullivan does avoid the KO, but Cabrera also gains another 5 points to be up by 9, 22 to 13, going into this final round, where Sullivan manages to avoid the TKO by hitting all 3 of his round 3 questions. 2-pointer Revenge of the Sith, 3-pointer in Planets and Locations, and a 5-pointer in the Clone Wars. Nobody wants to hear that category. It's their 5-round question, but he manages to pull it out, bounces it back over to Ace, who only has to hit a 2-pointer in Vehicles, Weapons, and Technology, which does give him the win, the final score of 24 to 23, where Andres answered 18 of 19 questions for 95% accuracy and scored 92% of 26 available points, where Sean Sullivan answered 13 of 18 questions for 72% accuracy and scored 74% of 31 available points. So, as I noted earlier, Ace was only one 2-point steal away from having another 100% accuracy and potential points earned, putting him again in that category of Thomas Harper, Gold Leader. The Star Wars division is so stacked this year. It is totally ridiculous. But huge props to Sully here. Big fan of the show and the channel. Thank you so much. But he gutted it out to avoid a KO and a TKO in this match. Nat, what did you think of that?
Oh, boy. Squad leader Ace proving again that his win last season was not a fluke, and I would not expect anything less from Ace. I think he's an elite level competitor, and I can't wait for his next match in the tournament. I'm always going to be rooting for Sean because he's a friend of the show. He's been on No Chill. I still have the banners right here. Yeah, it's a hard match to watch if you're a Sean fan because because everyone in corruption studies their ass off for this league because Shannon wants to retain her crown. She wants to stay on top the Schmoedown Mountain, and it's just really hard to do when you're playing someone the caliber of Ace. Like Ace just barely misses. He's proving again why he should be in the conversation for the best Star Wars player in the league. And what else can you do against Ace? I think Sean was very impressive how he didn't miss a single third round question. I think hats off to him for that. But Andres is just on another level, and he's on fire right now.
Absolutely. Super excited to see him face off against Thomas Harper, which will be the pay-per-view, or not the pay-per-view, but the Patreon exclusive match that's going to drop earlier this week. It was delayed from today. It should be airing tomorrow, but you guys will all be able to watch it hopefully by Wednesday. So super excited to see how those two pair up. That one's going to be a real toss-up and a real pick-em. We've not seen Thomas Harper show off too many weaknesses, and at this point, neither really has Ace. So definitely an exciting one to watch. But let's move on over into our next match of the week, which we saw Moose Haas going up against Jacob the Wonder Woodhaven, who we know from all the cool videos that he did with Justin the Juice. Really interesting cutscene.
Those anymore.
Yeah, really interesting development between those two. Be sure to check out the match for those cutscenes there, which were rather interesting. But with how this match played out, a bit of a rough start here where Haas automatically coming out of round one is up 10-4 coming out of that first round, where Haas decides to spin first. He spins away from Spider-Man, ends up on opponent's choice, and is given Spider-Man, which ended up not being a bad thing because he sweeps the round for the full 10 for 10 available points. Woodhaven decides to keep Star Wars on his first spin, where he comes away with 7 out of 10 points, checks down the multiple choice twice, and does give up one multiple choice steal, where he is able to avoid the KO, but Haas does gain an additional 4 points to be up by 10. 21-11 going into the third round, where unfortunately Woodhaven does miss a 2-pointer in the animated, which gives Haas the win via TKO with a final score of 21-11, where Moose Haas answered 16 of 17 questions for 94% accuracy, scored 96% of 22 available points, versus Jacob Woodhaven is able to answer 8 of 16 questions for 50% accuracy and scored 48% of 23 available points. So not the best that you want to see as far as what Jacob was able to do here in this first match, but I'm really hoping this is first match jitters. We've got it out of the way, and as we've seen in this division time and time again, as well as within the league, Star Wars can get really deep considering that we also have a Star Wars division. So that one's always going to be a tough category to go with. He navigated it well, was able to decrease the damage with what he was able to give away as far as steals. He was only giving up 1 point steal opportunities, which was crucial to avoid that KO situation given where he was after round one. Being down 6 points coming out of round one, there was just really no chance for him to swing the scales back in his direction. But he was able to gut it out to avoid that KO situation. So hats off to him for doing that. But again, another Finstock rookie showing that they're no joke here. Haas being able to come away with 10 points. He was unable to hit the bonus question, which does count against his accuracy, which is why you don't see a perfect 100-100. Otherwise, he did answer every question correct that he was afforded to him. But not too much more I want to say on this one. Nat, did you have any other comments on how things played out in this match?
Yeah, this match was very interesting for a lot of reasons. I am a big fan of Jacob Woodhaven. I think he's a very fun person to have in the league, and I enjoy his presence. But he didn't have the best showing. I think that I'm hoping his first time there because it's easy for me to say, like watching behind the screen and not actually competing. But some of the questions he missed were a little bit rough. I'm hoping he comes back. I'm hoping he gets better. But I just want to say that apparently Gucci has done extensive homework, or at least the Barbarian has, in recruiting these rookies because all of them are just so good. Not only are they good, they fit in the Finstock Exchange so well with their character work, and I think Haas is no exception. I think he is definitely someone who can be a top contender in the division. So he's definitely one to watch. I can't wait to see what he does next.
Absolutely, and hopefully, when Naaman is able to get another shot, a chance to kind of get that first one out of the way, come back in and have a better showing.
And also, I feel so bad for Jacob. Like the juice is loose. He's no longer associated with the usual suspects. I mean, these bros ain't loyal. That's I feel so bad for the guy.
Yeah, not a fun thing to see at all. But very interesting to see from character standpoints where we can go from there. Thanks to Danny, Ben, and hi, John. But here we are going to move right along into our next match from this week, which personally was my favorite to watch. The final two matches that we're going to talk to you about certainly had the higher stakes and were exciting to watch, but this one was just fun to watch. I am talking about Josh Horowitz against Paul Walter Hauser, single competition debut. Loved what these guys did, just off the top of me talking about. Loved that these guys understood the game right away. They got the character work on point. They were going back and forth with each other all throughout the match. So much fun to just sit there and watch these guys perform. And as you'll see as we go along, not too shabby of a showing for rookies. So coming into this first round, these guys were tied at 7 coming out of the first round. Both of them missing only one question there in that first round. Shifting right over to round 2, where Horowitz decides to defer to Hauser, who takes Viola Davis on his first spin, where he comes out with 6 out of 8 points, checking down the multiple choice twice, but not giving up any steal opportunities. Horowitz spins away from romance and ends up taking Ed Harris. Yes, and we know PLD is very excited about that. Horowitz is able to... we don't talk about that. He is able to sweep the round for the full 8 for 8 there, where Horowitz is able to gain 2 points to now be up by 2, 15-13, going into that third and final round where it is back and forth the entire rest of the round. Hauser and Horowitz both hitting their 2-pointers in Directors and Fantasy Sci-Fi respectively. Back and forth again with their 3-pointers. Hauser having a 3-pointer in movie quotes, Horowitz in biopics. Hauser hits a 5-pointer in coming-of-age movies, and Horowitz hits a 5-pointer in romantic comedies, which does give Horowitz the win with a final score of 25-23, where Josh Horowitz answered 14 of 15 questions for 93% accuracy, scored 93% of 27 available points, and Paul Walter Hauser answered 14 of 15 questions as well for also 93% accuracy and scored 85% of 27 available points. Very impressive numbers for a singles debut and rookies as well. Both of them only missing one question in the entire match. Yeah. The big discrepancies in the potential points earned is that Paul Walter Hauser did have to check down a multiple choice a couple times there in that second round, which did give Horowitz the mathematical advantage going into that third round, where they both answered all 3 of their questions, but since Horowitz was already up, that did afford him to have the win. I think they both adjudicated themselves very well in this match. Again, it was super fun to watch, and I am super excited to see these guys continue on. I think they have great characters to work with, and they understood the game right off the bat. Not anything else to add on this.
Yeah, this match was delightful. I
Oh,
really
yeah.
enjoyed it. I think that people talk about all the time of which matches to show people who are new to the Schmoedown, who if you want to hook them, I think this is one of those matches because you've got Josh Horowitz, who's well known in the industry. You got Paul Walter-Hauser. Oh, it's the guy from I, Tonya. It's the guy from the new Cruella movie. It's the guy from, most importantly, Stingray from Cobra Kai. I think that is something that can get new people in, and for it to be this entertaining, this good, and this close, I think this is definitely up there with one of my favorite matches to watch. It's highly entertaining, and I really hope we see more Paul Walter-Hauser in the league because he is awesome. I love him.
Yeah, he absolutely seemed to be enjoying himself. And something I noticed too, these weren't softball questions they were throwing at these guys. It wasn't like you would have seen celebrity matches back in earlier seasons where they're throwing them like all these easy questions. These were legitimate Schmoedown level competition questions, and they were battling it out. They understood how to use their JTEs, understood when to check down multiple choice when needed. Just a delightfully fun match that was competitive, but not a lot of high stakes involved, but just a really nice introduction to both of these competitors in the singles division. And again, re-echoing your sentiments, certainly hope that we see more of these guys in the future because they both seem really invested and wanting to continue on, which is always really nice to see.
Yeah, for sure. There were no kid gloves here. And also, for two people who are less familiar with how the game works, I thought they navigated the game very well. Like especially Paul Walter-Hauser, who knew to check down the multiple choice for questions that he wasn't sure on. I think that with more time, he can improve dramatically, strategically, and he could be a legitimate competitor. So,
Absolutely.
Again.
Yes, indeed. All right. So now that this fun match we had on Friday, let's move into the meat and potatoes of this week, which was our Battlefield pay-per-view event. First match, number one contender match between Corruption and Danger Zone. A lot of history between all competitors here coming into this match. And let's just dive right in here and start off with what we looked at. We had Corruption being up by 5 already coming out of round 1, 15-10, where Chance goes perfect, including the bonus. Mike coming out with 6 points, and both Dan and Ben coming out with only 5 points there. So a little bit of a rough start there. Coming into round 2, Corruption decides to spin first. They spin Spinner's Choice and end up taking comic book movies, where they sweep the round for the full 12 for 12. Danger Zone spins away from animated and ends up taking Francis Ford Coppola, where they also go perfect 12 for 12 in that round, which allows Corruption to still be up by 5, 27-22, coming into the third and final round, where Danger Zone is able to avoid the TKO with Ben hitting a 2-pointer in Denzel Washington and Dan hitting a 3-pointer in Action Adventure. That bounces it back over to Corruption, where Mike hits a 2-pointer in Steven Spielberg. Back over to Danger Zone for their 5-pointer, where they hit a 5-pointer in Coming of Age films. Back over to Corruption, where Chance hits a 3-pointer in martial arts films, and they hit a combined 5-pointer in Quentin Tarantino, which does give Corruption the win with a final score of 37-32, where Corruption answered 24 of 26 questions for 92% accuracy and scored 93% of 40 available points. Danger Zone answering 19 of 25 questions for 76% accuracy and scored 80% of 40 available points. So, round 1 was not Danger Zone's best. And something to note here that just from a gameplay standpoint, strategy ways, between Ben and Dan, they both used all 3 of their JTEs in round 1, trying to gain as many points as they can out of that round. So that means that they had no JTEs to use at all in rounds 2 or 3, and they still managed to come out perfect from both of those rounds. To me, that talks about the formidability of this team still, even though they took a hard loss here with having a really rough first round. Don't count these guys out at all. And Chance Ellison continues to impress with answering all of his questions for 100% accuracy for him specifically inside of this match. Both of these definitely should not be underestimated. Nat, what did you think of this? High stakes match, a lot riding on this.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people talk about saving their JTs. I think that ideally you want to go into the third round with a lot of JTs, but I am of the mindset of if you need to repeat a question, use your JTE. Like I don't blame him at all for using him in the first round. I think it was a very hard first round, and that happens like that. You sometimes you're gonna get questions that you don't know the answer to, plain and simple. And I think that's even more impressive that Chance went perfect. I will also say that I think that it's a pretty general consensus that Chance is a better player than Mike on this team, but I think that Mike should not be underestimated. I think he played so well. I think he said he got the same amount of questions right as Ben Bateman in the first round, and that's very impressive. I think Mike is a force, and I think that his chemistry with Chance is what has brought them so much success over the years. Very impressive by those two. I think Danger Zone will be back. I think they just had a really rough game, and that happens to everyone. So I can't wait to see.
Absolutely. And the idea that they kept it close enough by maintaining perfect from round 2 moving forward, it forced Corruption to have to hit their 5-pointer to beat them, which when you're down coming out of that first round, or if you're down coming out of that second round, that's what you are always trying to do. You want to force that competitor or that opposition to have to hit that 5-pointer because you never know what you're going to get. The 5-pointer can be the great equalizer in any game. You could be down coming in, but if you hit all 3 of your questions and you force your competitor or your competition to hit that 5-pointer, it's one they don't know, you've won the game. So definitely a exciting match to watch. High stakes. Again, I think both of these teams will continue to be a force, but Corruption's got something else that they've got to handle here very quickly, and that is going to be...
This real quick, I misspoke earlier because the stats are right in front of me. Mike actually outscored both Dan and Ben in the first round, so very impressed by him. I was rooting for Danger Zone purely for fancy reasons, but I love Corruption. So I'm happy to see any time they win.
Absolutely. It was definitely a good thing to see there. Sets Danger Zone up to go through a whole nother tournament, come back swinging. Definitely some more opportunities for them there. But who Corruption will be facing next is the winner of It's the Odd Couple, officially, because it does go on the Odd Couple's official record. Oops, sorry about that. But you have Jeff Snyder with a new partner that we did not know about until right up when the match started, and it was Janine the Machine. So excited to see her come into this match. Was really excited to see her compete in a title match to show what she could do. And of course, we have Shazam coming up as the #1 contenders. Big match here to talk about. Starting off, coming out of here round 1, we have Shazam being up by 4, 18-14, where both Meyer and Bibbs went perfect, plus the bonus for 9 each, and Janine and Snyder both getting 7 points coming out of this first round. Going into the second round, Shazam disperse over to the Odd Couple, who take Frank Capra on their first spin. And this was kind of where we saw Janine kind of take the reins and take control of the match a little bit from the team chemistry standpoint. And they were able to get 11 out of 12 points there, checking down the multiple choice one time, but not giving up any steal opportunities. Shazam takes Mel Brooks on their first spin and sweeps the round for the full 12 for 12. So Shazam gains another point to now be up by 5, 30-25, going into the third round, or the betting round, where Stephen King is the category that is spun. They both bet 3 points for both teams, and they both answer it correctly. So the Shazam is able to maintain their 5-point lead now at 33-28. Going into the fourth round, the speed round, where Shazam has the odd couples go first, and you have Janine taking the first set of questions. She answers 5 out of 5. She does pass on the second question, but is able to loop back around and get that question correct. Snyder also hits all 5 of his questions to give them a 10 for 10 perfect coming out of their speed round. Shazam follows behind, where Myers and Bibbs both answer all 5 of their questions to also give them 10 out of 10 points with no passes inside of their rounds. So again, Shazam maintains their 5-point lead. It is now 43-38. Already crazy numbers from a score standpoint. Coming into this round, the odd couple is able to avoid the TKO by Janine hitting a 2-pointer in an action adventure and Snyder hitting a 3-pointer in comedy. It bounces it over to Shazam, where Meyer hits a 2-pointer in Will Smith. Back over to the odd couple for their 5-pointer in musicals, which they are able to hit. It's back over to Shazam, where Bibbs hits a 3-pointer in Black Cinema, and they hit a 5-pointer in disaster films, which gives Shazam the win and the titles with a final score 53-48. Now pay attention here, because we have the odd couple answers 34 of 36 questions for 94% accuracy. They scored 91% of 53 available points. Shazam answers 38 questions, 100% accuracy, and scored 100% of 53 available points. The first time in Teams Division history inside of a title match, Moneyball setup or buzzer format not included, we have never seen a team go the full 100%, including the betting round where you're betting the full 3 points on those questions. The only other person that has been able to do that, ironically, another Corky Merc member. You saw Andrew DeMolanta do it in his Star Wars match against Damon earlier this year. Absolutely ridiculous. And I think that's also a testament to how well the odd couple were playing. They were forcing Shazam to play aggressive and to bet those full 3 points in order to maintain the lead that they had, because they knew there could be a big swing either way. And Nat, what do you got? This was crazy.
Yeah, it is. I think the reason why Jeff and Mark and Draco were so successful was because they've had time to build their chemistry. I think that this is a very new team. Janine's, this is her first year with this in the same fashion as Jeff. So I think that they do need time to grow and adjust. But that said, I think Jeff can be an amazing teammate to anyone in the league. And Janine isn't just anyone. Janine is coming into her own as an elite player. That said, I do not think – actually, I know for a fact this match would not have played – the result would not have been any different if we had Andrick in there instead of Janine, because Jeff missed a point in round 1, and that was it. Shazam went perfect, so it would have been the same result. That said, it's getting kind of hot in here. I gotta unbutton a little bit. Oh, what do we got here? What do we got here?
I see what you got. I see what you're doing here.
What do we got here? Oh, look at that.
I see what you got.
I understand this is a Black Adam shirt. It's not exactly the same, but it's close enough. I'm rooting for Shazam all the way. I love Viviani. I love Brendan Meyer. He's been on No Chill technically twice, so very proud of them. 100% accuracy, 100% PBE. That's incredible. Like, I don't even know how you game plan for that. Like, they apparently in this match they had no weaknesses. They went absolutely perfect, so they absolutely deserve the team's titles. That said, I do think that I'm hoping that Jeff and Janine remain a team, and they put Jacoby Bancroft with my boy Felix Moret, who deserves a match. Get him a match. But this team of the Otter couple, I really enjoy, and I think that if they remain a team, they will be perpetually in the title picture. So I can't wait to see what we have next for Odd Couple, and also I can't wait to see Shazam versus Corruption. That should be a great match.
Absolutely. Yes. And, to go back on to the otter couple, as they were called throughout the match, MVP props to Janine for jumping in on this match. She definitely came in and just took on the challenge of doing a title match, dealing with the speed round, which she had never had to deal with in her career up until this point. She hadn't even been in a title match in singles with the buzzers, to my knowledge. So that was something really impressive to see her, and to see her and Snyder be able to trust Janine to say, hey, you take this category. When they had Frank Capra on the wheel and they spun it first, Snyder was like, okay, Janine, go for it. I will back you up. I'm here to help you, but this is your show now. And seeing them go back and forth with those questions was so much fun to watch, and amazing to see that team gelled together so quickly. And I had loved seeing the Odd Couple progress throughout their career. I said in a stat post several months ago that the Odd Couple with Mark Andreyko and Snyder consistently improved by 10% every year that they were a team. They've been together since Anarchy. They continued to work together and they continue to improve. And that was true for both of them. So Snyder is bringing all that experience from the past few years of working with Andreyko, brought it into this match, brought Janine along, and she was well up to the challenge. So proud of those two and how they played. But again, what can you say when your competitor goes and your opponent goes perfect? Shazam is continuing to prove time and time again they deserve to be in this title shot picture, and I'm super excited to see their first defense against Corruption. If they continue to play at this elite level, I very much believe that they can continue to defend throughout this year, and very interested to see how long they can keep this up, because the game is a fickle mistress. You can have the questions just go your way in one match, and the next match things cannot go as well, but hopefully things can continue for Shazam's sake, that they can get at least one defense under their belts here with the newly acquired team's title. Nat, that was all the matches we had for this week.
Yeah, that was all.
Crazy. I mean, just a few matches. No big deals there.
No big deal.
Just a few title matches, a few debuts that were crazy, another TKO for Finstock Exchange. I mean, just nothing interesting. But that is going to be it for our show today. Guys, thank you so much for those of you that are here live. Camchef, see you in here. Great to see you. I haven't seen you around here for a while, but thank you guys all so much for those 8 of you here that are joining in live. Again, if you're coming in here and watching on the replay, thank you guys so much. I enjoy doing this. Nat and I have a lot of fun doing this show, and we enjoy just giving you guys a recap, a quick 30 to 40 minutes. You get caught up on an entire week. But please go back and watch some of these matches, especially the pay-per-view matches if you get a chance to. The Horowitz Paul Walter Hauser match, definitely worth a full rewatch. A great match to watch as well. That's probably going to be my absolute favorite from this entire week. But we will be back here same time next week, breaking down the next week's of matches, which should be just as exciting as well. Be sure to follow all of us, as well as the Call to Action channel on all of our socials, which are down in the description of this video, as well as also check out Call Live. We're bringing that back on a more consistent basis now. You'll hear some great interviews with competitors. We had Bibbs and Janine on this past week, which was a lot of fun to get to see them. And check out that show to get a little more in-depth talk about the matches themselves. We do more of a recap here on this show. But as always, for the Call to Action crew, I'm Megs. This has been After Action Report.